Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Does the U.S. intend to return its diplomatic presence to Kyiv?
That is, of course, our objective over the course of time, but we're going to have to assess when it's the right time to do exactly that.
Is it considering moving back into Ukraine, potentially to Lviv, sooner rather than later?
I don't have a prediction of that at this point. Obviously, it's in our interest to have a diplomatic presence on the ground, but that is an assessment made by the State Department, made through the prism of security considerations, and sometimes it's a smaller presence that gets larger, but they are really the appropriate entity to speak to that.
Is there any concern that if the U.S. does not get its diplomatic presence back sooner, that it'll appear that we're leading from behind, as you've got the European Union, I believe the Czech Republic, Italy, a lot of countries are coming forward and saying that they're going back to Ukraine, and the U.S. hasn't done it yet?
I would say that the most important thing the United States has done and continues to do is lead the entire global coalition in standing up against Russia and ensuring we are providing military security assistance, expediting that, tapping into not only our own resources, but the resources of countries around the world, and leading the world in a package of economic sanctions that has had a crippling impact on the Russian economy. Those are the most important factors.
Has the president asked to go to Ukraine?
I'm not going to get into private conversations. What I will tell you is we're not currently planning a trip by the President of the United States to Ukraine. What is most important to the Ukrainian leadership is that we are expediting weapons and getting them the assistance and security systems they need, and that is what our focus is on.
And who decides if the president goes to Ukraine or not?
In what way?
He had said when he was in Poland that he expressed interest in going to Ukraine, but they wouldn't let me. So I'm wondering who
I'm not going to get into private considerations internally on that front.
Okay, and on Title 42, you said over the weekend that the administration agrees more needs to be done, the immigration system is broken. This was in response to a question about Democrats who don't want to lift it right now. You invited Republicans to work with the White House to get something done on immigration, but has the White House actually reached out to any Republicans to try to move this forward recently?
It has been a long-standing open invitation. Any Republican who wants to work with us on immigration reform, you're invited. Let's have a conversation. We have not seen an expression of that interest across the board.
So you're wanting Republicans to go to you. The White House is not reaching out then to any.
We have conversations with Democrats and Republicans all the time, Jacqui, but I think it's clear what we're seeing from Republicans is an effort to politicize this and not fix what we all recognize as an outdated and broken system.
One last question. You said on Friday that the vice president was masked indoors all day, but the White House tweeted a video showing her standing over the president without a mask on. Can you explain what happened there?
Well, I would say that the vice president and the president and all of us abide by what the CDC protocols are. It was an emotional day. It was a historic day. And there were moments when she was not wearing a mask inside, including in a photo. But she was wearing it 99.9% of the time. I would note the president and the vice president have both tested negative in the last 24 hours. And, we have felt and made the decision it's important to share with all of you when there are close contacts. That's exactly what we did. Why it's of interest to the public, I think, is, and you guys can agree or disagree with me, is because the four principles, the public has a right to know and an interest in knowing when the four principles have exposure or close contact exposure to any individuals who have COVID. The vice president is now 5 days post-exposure, she tested negative.